I'm like, where y'all been? I've been working.
All right, let me orient myself. All right, what the fuck? Come on. All right, yeah, I know the gameplay says it's supposed to be Warhammer Death Watch, but for some reason that shit just opens and closes. Drivers are up to date, just doesn't work. So I'm like, all right, cool. Figured out my account issues, and so I got my save games back. That's what. Yeah, there we go. I don't remember the name of this one. I got a little bit of ammo. This is a shotgun? Yep. I don't remember where I'm supposed to be going. Now I actually like this. I know it's a weird thing, but think about if I was going to play Warhammer, then it probably makes sense. That I like games that where they change it up a little bit. That's one thing I was thinking about that earlier, about being human and all that shit. Did I not kill these people? No, I did not. Well, aliens, whatever. Let's go there. And it's odd. Like people say they want variety, they want all this different shit, they want to meet all these different people, but as soon as they meet someone who shows characteristics or behaviors or attributes that are off of quote unquote, I guess acceptable, the norm, whatever have you, it's like they flip their shit like they lose it. And I always just thought that was fun. Funny, not fun, but funny a little bit, because you got these people who swear up and down they're open-minded, they're intelligent, they're all this shit, but just that moment of even just acknowledging that aspect of it, just doesn't even cross their mind. It's not even a thing. Come on. Woo. Climbing mountains. No, it's weird because you see these people who are clearly intelligent, but there's just this part that cuts off. And it's like, maybe that's that whole stability shit. Maybe they're like, yeah, I want things to be, yeah, I'm open to some things, but not that much. Not that much change. That's too much right there. We need to slow it down. Am I going the right way? I don't know. There we go. I do plan on doing some. Well, I thought about that, and honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna probably upgrade certain things. Yeah, I need to kill these.
So named because, well, he's rude, so you can probably guess. Dangerous doesn't begin to describe this guy. Don't turn your back on him.
How is he not dead? It's the grunt. There you go. So where's the guy that's supposed to... Oh man, I'm getting old. Oh shit! It's right there. Boom. I don't think that was him though. Oh shit. That sniper rifle over there? I think I got enough ammo.
We're in range of Ignovis the Devourer. So named because,
We'll find out.
well, he's a brute, so you can probably guess. Dangerous doesn't begin to describe this guy. Don't turn your back on him.
Yeah, I hate that. Like, you shoot him, and then boom. Yeah, but I don't know. That shit is annoying with people and their bullshit. I don't want to get too close. Yeah, you can tell I don't play games that much. Holy shit. That was bad. Okay. Yeah, I get it. I know I'm dying. Oh shit. Man, I didn't have enough ammo. Should have took that bucket sniper rifle. But yeah, alright, so topic of today. Yeah, well, I mean, is it really just is the topic really needed? I don't think so. Because normally that's where a lot of things end up going back towards. Anyways, so I mean, you could call it pain, I guess, of self-reflection, self-development. What was that? Because one thing that we probably should acknowledge is that it is painful to basically embrace reality, and especially, well, let's talk about anger for a second. So, a lot of those emotions that we feel, a lot of those frustrations, a lot of that anger, a lot of that can be tied to our feelings of vulnerability. And man, where the fuck am I going? I think I'm trying to get a gun or something. Man, maybe I should have picked a different game. Maybe like Ninja Turtles or something. But no, yeah. So a lot of those actions on anger, frustration, and shit like that, and especially when it comes down to facing those truths about ourselves that we block out. Now that could be like a lot of different shit. That could be who knows what. You know what I mean? Depending on the individual. But the hardest part is even getting there. And the fact that when you get there, how much it hurts. And how much you'll feel basically, what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say disturbed, disrupted. And it'd be hard to acknowledge in the moment that that's a good thing. But again, as humans, pain, we don't like it. And it's hard for us to see something because we see things in a lot of good, bad fashion. And the understanding that there's a hard process for a lot of stuff. That you don't just get to something just completely, I guess, fully developed, you know, fully functioning. A lot of times it takes that process can take a lot out of you. It takes a lot to get that fully done.
Dangerous doesn't begin to describe this guy. Don't turn your back on him.
And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because, well, if you're familiar with any of the things we talk about, you understand that nowadays a lot of the mentality. Oh, what? How the fuck? Alright. That ain't that good. Whatever. It's not him. not set towards embracing the journey. Like, there's a lot to be gained. There's a lot to be experienced. And there's a lot, well, yeah, to be gained experience. A lot of understanding through that whole path that you miss out on when you don't actually travel that path. God damn. Yeah, I probably will. Honestly. Fucker. Yes. But at the same time, because I've actually spoken to some young people. They're blue pill as hell. You know what I mean? They got no clue what the fuck is going on. Well, they do to a certain extent. You know, as woke as you thought you were when you were like in your early 20s or 19 or some shit. And then you find out the hard way you don't know shit. And you normally find out because somebody's taking advantage of you. Ah, no more grenades. Time to run. Man, is there not like an ammo spot? I think I'm supposed to just go down there and kill people and take their guns. Here we go. Oh man. Pretty much out of the good stuff. Like, I can beat the dead horse all day on what's happening to young men and children, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I guess the girls are suffering too. Which, at a certain point, you can play that role like, oh, but yeah, what about? And it's like, I don't really want to hear it. Because when the whole system is geared towards basically making you a first-class citizen and a different demographic, a second-class, I don't really think there needs to be more resources and attention diverted towards you. And then that's for somebody the moral argument. It's like, shut up. It's like, shut up. I like how people try to do that. They want to jump on this like weird moral bandwagon. Like, oh, look at you. And it's like, one, let's not try to act like, out of weapon, out of gun, ammo, weapon. Don't say gun. Dead. Because here he came. I didn't even see him rolling up. Man, I'm dead. Come on. But yeah, it's dumb, but it's for a reason though. It's, well, one, dismissive as hell. They want you to basically there. This one killed him. There we go. It used to break. Oh, it didn't hit him. It hit. Well, it used to. There it goes. Oh shit. Didn't pick up any grenades. Nope, didn't pick up any grenades. Come on. Oh man. Oh. It's lucky. Alright. Well yeah, we're kinda, well, I'm not saying we. I'm gonna speak from my point of view, where I'm at, and where I kind of see it at. So as far as I'm concerned, any moment where there was supposed to be this discourse going on, there was supposed to be these talks happening, there was progress, that is not real. That was never real. In fact, I was very vocal about that a long time ago, that that was not the case. It's just not a thing. A lot of people didn't like that because in their mind there was still this hope that we wouldn't have to go that route. Like there wouldn't be just this, oh, everything's lost and that's it. Like there would be, some chance, some form of reconciliation, some form of compromise. Which again, that's not a thing because for that to happen, you have to have some leverage. So the other side, whoever it is that you're trying to compel, you're trying to make the case to, what have you, they have to see a benefit in doing so. And if there is no benefit, and also they stand to lose, like there's no consequences either, why would they? And we see how that has went. They won't. And again, the cycle still continues, and that's the reason why it's actually very important to silence people, to shut them up. It's like if you've ever been studying something, and then you eventually get some notes that help you out at places you're stuck at. Oh, come on, who even shot me? Oh, all the way up there. Didn't even realize. You realize how much farther and faster you get to your wanted destination with all that information. Man, I got these little crappy guns and I need to just kill all of them. That's really annoying. Alright, I'll use this. But yeah, and a lot of times, because one, the idea that you've got all these just individuals going around and everybody's just capable of, like, it's not true. We can clearly see that. In fact, you can tell because whoever controls the normies and their main influences, the shiny box. Man, I don't know what's going on with that. Controls a huge amount of public sentiment. And also, you clearly see that isolating children from any sort of male figure that would, god damn. See, I don't know why I kept forgetting to look up here for this son of a bitch. Bitch. In real life, that shot would have never happened. So it's just, magic of video games. But see how powerful it is that you separate somebody from those type of influences, because essentially you're just creating the world for them. You're creating everything they know. And at a certain point, once that stuff becomes beliefs, and also, no, an even bigger part of that. So it doesn't matter if they think it's real or not. So if all the relationships, all the relationships they benefit from, their identity are all built around that information, good luck. They're not going to let that go. At least not easily. Like there has to be some greater amount of pain than there is benefit for what they're doing, and even then, it's still just a shit show. So that's why you tend to try to look at things both ways, not both ways, but from more than one side, not just from yours. Is this that one that shoots like? Oh shit! All right, no, I don't need that. I could use this though. All right, so he's dead. And what that really does is it gives you a chance to nah, it gives you a chance to, instead of seeing, sort of like in that black and white type of view where, good, evil, all that crap, you get a chance to kind of see and understand, especially when you realize that a lot of times if people were calling crazy or something like that, they're just, their goals and motives are different than ours. They're different and they have, they have different values, stuff like that. So we can't understand it because we wouldn't act in such a way. So to us, yeah, it's irrational, it's crazy, it's not making any sense. But if our goals were aligned with theirs, then we would probably behave just like them. You know, give or take a few other factors, but you know what I mean. Woo. Oh, probably need to practice playing video games more. All right, let's go back to what we were doing. Oh, come on, man. Why did I do that like that? That was weird. Ugh. Probably 'cause I just made my mind up in the moment. All right, all right, I got a better idea. Blew it up. Oh, I say that because I've been noticing that there's a lot of people where you talk to them, and yeah, it seems like you might, you're like, yeah, they seem like half a rationale, but then after a while, if you just dig a little deeper, where's that coming from?
Oscar 128 is down. I repeat, Oscar 128 is down. And we've lost uplink to command. Anyone hearing me out there? Does anyone copy?
Bandit troopers, 9 o'clock.
Oh, no.
Telemetry shot, so I have no sense of our position.
But eventually, you start seeing where you and
Territory.
other people might
They have
differ.
hardware deploying from orbit faster than we can calculate.
It's like I was just talking to somebody not too long ago, and we were just talking about, just shooting shit like I'm doing now.
We're dug in and holding position.
And it was how quickly you realize that because of the differences in the environment or like, social dynamics and what have you right now, you might be lumped in with certain people where in reality, no, you don't really jive with what they've got jive. You don't really jive with what they've got going on or what they would like to accomplish. But because of how things are, it seems like that's where you belong ish. Until you really start scratching down to what your actual goals are, what you actually want. Like there's a lot of people we'll have a conversation, right? And so we'll be talking about things like, and even though I'm speaking in somewhat of a neutral fashion, they are like this is something you can always practice. It's actually I wouldn't say it's fun, but maybe if you're like me, you're just a little fucked up mentally, yeah, it's fun. But people add a connotation to things based off of their understanding of how they learn the word and how it's normally used socially. So they'll add that connotation to it, even if you're not doing that. That's just how they'll hear it. That's just how they'll have it. And that's just normally how it goes. Now I know it's like, hey, you're fucking around with human speech. Shut up. People people do that shit all the time. I don't want to hear it. That's one thing that I damn sure will never, ever like try to flatulate myself on or have a grandstand about. Is I'm not gonna hold myself to morals or like yeah. Well, basically, I'm not gonna constrain myself in a fashion that no one else is to my own disadvantage. That makes no sense to do. That's illogical as hell. And others, they may do it and they feel good in the arms of Jesus. You do that. You have fun, but please stay the fuck out of my way while I try to escape. Because no, I'm not doing that. I'm not down with whatever the hell that is.
Deep from the abyss, we call that sobriety. Give me your alcohol, folks.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where that wolf just came from. But, yeah, so, no, that actually, well, it depends. Again, it depends on you, your values, what you're for, what's important. But again, for some people, I'm not some, actually, I never realized how large of an amount of people it is. So when they talk about the aspect of someone needs to see themselves as a good person, they need to see them. They basically have to give themselves moral approval through their self-identified identity, I guess, right? And so a lot of time I didn't realize how important that was for a lot of people, and it's extremely important. Is there nobody in there?
Gotta get that validation.
Well, here's the thing. This wound is self-inflicted. It's not. There's not. It's not
Yeah,
coming
it is.
from anywhere else. So this is a way that they feel like, I guess, they feel okay with themselves and their identity and what they're doing.
I call it
Shit.
a magic. I call it a magic trick. They've society or the forces at will have convinced the common man that by flexing or that if you have enough, that you can too be important. And I laughed my ass off so hard because I used to make the joke that nobody hates the poor more than the middle class. The rich don't, because the rich don't have to live next to them.
Oh no, it's poor people who hate poor people the most.
Yeah, that too. That's kind of the whole thing about it. And everybody's trying to. You got people all over the world trying to keep up with 10%, and they can't. They really can't. I mean, they don't make that enough money, and even if they did, that upkeep and that maintenance, they don't think about that. They
Well,
think you just snap your fingers on a business. It's just funny as hell.
majority of people aren't long-term thinkers anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
Ah,
it's
dang.
pretty crazy. I saw this one channel, this dude making a live stream had red and blue flashing. The dude was lit up like a damn Leon Christmas tree, and that shit was so distracting. And every time, everyone wants to have this money making mindset, I just started laughing. Same people can't tell you what they do, and they're always talking about having clients. Clients for what? That means you got a temporary freaking boss. I don't know if they just function on a level of retardation or not. They really need their head examined. Nobody's buying it. Nobody cares. And you start to see how dependent people are on the process. There used to be a time where when you wanted to know something, you had to, you know, go out and develop an actual skill to be an apprentice, learn how to blow glass, learn how to fix a car or something. Now people don't even know how to do that. Lo and behold, look at me, I got this piece of paper, and yeah, you still work at Starbucks. Yay.
Oh yeah, I've been noticing that too.
Validation.
And they go into here's a weird thing. They go into debt for that shit. So you go into debt and they don't teach you any actual skills. But the funny thing is, a lot of shit. So it's really the licensing and the experience that you're trying to gain. That's why you would go through a lot of those processes. Because a lot of those skills you can actually gain on your own. There's a lot of knowledge. Like the books are everywhere. You can get it yourself. But because of how things are, you do have to get your licenses and stuff like that, and make sure you have the proper knowledge to actually do the things. God damn it! Walked right
Yeah,
into that shit.
we need to have the knowledge of God damn it, folks. That's where it starts. That's where it ends too.
Oh, bitch. Walked right into that shit, though. Damn. All right. Well, I'm not doing that again. So, let me blow him up. All right.
But yeah, I just enjoy the little
Bitch.
funny nuances, You just gotta enjoy the little funny nuances of life. Every time I hear someone say enjoy the great reset, I bust out laughing because they don't even know. They got no idea. Be the same people fighting over toilet paper and virtually everything else saying enjoy the great reset. I just it's those type of circle jerks that is just not worth it. People need to learn to value their time, value life in general. Life is short. Try to do it, spending it much time doing what you want to do as opposed to all the other stuff. Ain't no point.
Well, no, see, that's the thing. So, as far as a point or a meaning goes in something, you assign it yourself. You assign the value to something. So there can be. It just depends on is that what you want. That actually. So one of the biggest difficulties is understanding yourself. Is really just getting an idea of what you're actually like, what you really enjoy. Because it's easy to autopilot around. Problem is you don't get a really good understand. Like you might feel some shit, right? But the problem is you don't have the actual understanding. And so I like to think of it sort of like when you're trying to fix something, you're trying to troubleshoot it. If you don't actually know how it works, you're not going to follow a certain methodology. You're not going to follow like a given path to like if you had a block diagram on the inputs and outputs and what this part of this does. You're not doing that. Instead, you're just what you feel something should be. So in the absence of knowledge, we go with emotion. And so that's normally where that goes. And you see it's like a shit show. It's pretty bad. Where a lot of times I see people who are the most frustrated is they don't know how it works. They just want it to work. That's it. And you can see them with their anger, all this shit, the posturing, the aggression, all that shit comes out. And that's just some natural shit. I'm not see right there. That's the point. You pointing that out is not me saying that they're good or bad or they need to do this. I'm not saying that that's just how that is. You're going to run into people in those situations. Now that itself isn't an indication of that person's character or whatever. That just means at that time, whatever circumstance, whatever device, whatever it may be, they just didn't know. That's all. They just didn't know. And there's nothing wrong with you not knowing. That's just how we all start off.
It's the unwillingness to learn that is the problem, and due to a lot of crazy things that's happened, people have fostered this weird sense of entitlement. I know people of all ages, younger than me, older than me, they don't know anything, and they're insanely proud of it. They have no skills, and they're insanely proud of it. And they're talking about some crazy reset as if they're gonna be winners. I'm trying to hold back here, but a lot of them will not exist. They will not make it.
Well,
And
you
deep
gotta.
down on some
Well,
level, they know
hold
it.
on. So you gotta pay attention to the culture. So especially how fucking feminized the culture is. The whole status of being fucking useless but still being valuable. That's some female shit. Because as a dude, you don't have that. It's not a thing. In fact, as a guy, the more useless you are, the worse you feel.
Yeah, I
Because you're
mean,
not contributing any value. You're just dead weight. So what the fuck are you even around for?
live in society likes to spray paint shit gold and say it's valuable. That's kind of the issue. I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and build a house and be a RoboCop necessarily. I'm just saying learn at least some level of a skill. They don't learn this, and so all the time they spend messing with everybody else could be spent improving themselves, but they don't.
Not gonna happen.
Everything with them, man.
So number one, the environment changed. It's. I'm not gonna say like to this crazy amount, but you gotta remember. So some of the skills might look different, but if you can make a career out of whatever the fuck it is they do, then why wouldn't you? Then in a sense,
Yeah.
that is a skill. It's not very applicable in many other places and environments, but it's still there. So it's
Yeah, it's still
again,
there, just not.
that's the point I was trying to make about like perspectives and shit like that. Son of a bitch.
It's still there, but in a very emotional, morality-based way. I mean, like it's just crazy. They can't handle anything. I mean, I've even taught some of the elderly acting this way. This person was trying to. Like I often hate having to teach them very much of anything. It's worse than trying to teach a younger person. because they could know absolutely nothing about what you're teaching. They have a weird, fixed type of entitlement about it sometimes. It's like, oh, he keeps talking. Yeah, because you don't know. Just like the kid across the street doesn't know. And that's the whole thing. I hate it when someone they want all the prestige of a position without the work. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
back in
So
ancient times when you lived to be an old man, I hate to say this as well. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to diss all old people, but back in ancient times, silent generation, last generation that could comprehend that fully.
holy shit.
When if you were old and you lived in a terrible place, it normally meant that you at least knew something to survive that long. But you have people 67, sometimes 80 years old who lived their whole life without any much of any struggle, attempting to tell people, some of whom are in their teens, that have struggled 8 billion times more than them and somewhere else. We have people like living
Holy
in
shit.
America right now who, for some odd reason, believe they suffer more than someone in North Korea. I mean, I saw the news thing. North Korean girl was talking. Everyone's like, "Oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about." This is what I'm talking about. Like when you enter an age of peace too much, people forget. They forget what things used to be. It wasn't just people want to blame the little stupid university. That's a small footnote, if anything. It's just it's foolish and stupid as hell. I mean, it was the culture, as you said. It was the culture. It was the general shaping of this. And this is why we have these problems. Disputes are now handled more emotionally than ever before. It's just heated, powder
Well,
keg.
people are emotional first, anyways. So that's not like again. I'm not gonna like because one of the things that I refuse to believe is that out of nowhere people just became this way. I'm like, nah. People ain't changed
Was
that much. Now, well, our environment will change, like especially socially. We manipulate the shit out of our environment through a lot of constraints. Is that a rocket launcher?
they're only doing what was already in them to do, but it's the fact that they're allowed to do what would otherwise be unacceptable
Because people
anywhere else.
respond to their environment, and so, oh shit, is that a sniper rifle? Yes, it is. All right. Well, bye bye shotgun. How do I? How do I? Nope. That's not what I meant to do. It doesn't. Let me zoom in. But no, yeah, people respond to incentives and constraints, and so you basically get what you reward more of. So there's an incentive. It's like it's like when you talk about black drug dealers and criminals. So they're rewarded, and it's like what through prosperous careers and benefits. It's like no, through vagina. That's why. So that's literally what they're after. The male sex drive is strong as shit. So yeah, that's the whole point of that. And that's why you get more of that because it's rewarded. And as far as well, especially right now, as far as it's like being punishment and there's a lot of like consequences for that. I mean, you might get shot, you might go to prison, but here's the thing: like they go to prison and it just ups their status in that world.
Coming out of prison than you do coming out of college.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but
So, well, no, that's on purpose.
that's not.
Well, it kind of makes sense at a certain point. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't really want to attribute like this whole master plan to a lot of shit, but at this point, it's like I like to look at a lot of it as just leaving rope in a room with a suicidal person, because that's
yeah.
kind of what it seems like. Because no one's there's a lot of things people aren't forcing you to do. People are choosing that shit. But yet they're trying to put it as if somebody put a gun to their head and made them. Like the trades, yeah, like good point. The trades are there. A lot of certification programs and all that stuff, they're there. And yet people don't want that. Instead, they go to college, they get into a bunch of debt. And I've had a lot of people who tell me their degrees. I don't know what the hell they're at, what they're in, or what they do. I just know that they work a crappy job. And I'm not saying crappy as in their job is shit. It's just that they don't like it. They don't want to do it. And then I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to do that shit either. And so, you know, I guess it's just like a
Well,
judgment call.
yeah. I mean, people don't want to, you know, put put in more of what they're getting out of it, input and output and whatnot. So,
But here's the thing, they're putting it because all right, so you go depending on well a lot of these useless ones that they're getting and a lot of these jobs, it's like unless you go to the government, which I wouldn't doubt that a lot of them would like to go to the government jobs, you're not going to get back what you're putting in. So what the is the point? Like all right, so like you pointed out before, life is short, right? So you've only got so many good years of being able to like be competent and compete in the workplace, like build yourself up and all that stuff. Physically, all this stuff, like you need to transition and shift careers and all that stuff. You only have so much time to do that because as you get older, slower, it's hard to learn. Like you sort of just become more of a liability than a benefit, depending on the decisions you made. And so my thing is, throughout that time, depending on what your goals are, like I remember somebody said something. They were like, they were talking about some house shit or something. Like this is just some normie ass people. And I didn't say the other part out loud, but I'm sitting here like, one, I don't want to, because I don't want to live in this state. I don't want to live and die here. So why would I get a house here? That wouldn't make any sense. Something like that didn't seem to cross their mind at all. Like it just didn't even register. Like somehow that wasn't a thought that they would put together with that. And I don't know. It's not disappointing. It's just one of those things where you just acknowledge it. You're like, yep. I don't think people think a lot about a lot of shit they're doing. I think they just do what they think will get them accepted, what'll get them fit in. So they believe they're chasing the reward. You know, they're chasing that carrot on a stick. And I'm calling it that for a fucking reason. And
this
so,
is why,
as far as they're concerned, if they follow the given path, everything will be fine. And this these are people that trust the authorities, whoever they may be, and they trust that they have their best interests at heart, which is weird, especially for a person like me who that I learned the hard way, that no one has your best interests but you. Like not there's nobody. Like they're like, oh, but maybe this person. I'm like, I'm sorry, not that person either. I know that'd be nice, but that's just not how it works. And they can have it to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, you're still your own meat. You're still you. They're not you. But a lot of people want that. They want that this idea of there's gonna be someone to take care of me and protect. It's like no. I mean, maybe if you're a woman and you make proper decisions before nobody wants to fuck you anymore. But if you're a dude, holy shit, shoot him.
They believe in life's beautiful lie. I mean, it isn't bad to want comfort in your life, but from a realistic standpoint, none of us have that. And it doesn't matter what group or what label or whatever the hell people want to tether themselves to, we have to look out for us, like first and foremost. And if you're fortunate enough to have a family or whatever, naturally that would extend to them. But it's this expectation that people have, oh, my life's going to be like this, or it's supposed to be this way. This isn't a Disney fairy tale, and too many people look at life that way. If I just keep suffering a little bit more, no,
Yeah,
why suffer at all?
like there's already some predetermined reward for you.
It's really like it's scary to meet people like that because I view them as a danger to everyone, especially themselves. They are dangerous. They are the most dangerous people you will ever encounter. You don't want necessarily to be around that person with nothing to lose, but you also don't want to be around that person whose head is constantly in the clouds. Can't even see the forest for the trees. It's just And it's so funny because they act like they've discovered when they're hit with any dose of reality, they act as if they've discovered this amazing thing. Guys, did you know when you fall on a rock and it stabs you in the ass, it actually hurts? Oh man, I learned something today. I mean, everything with them becomes this wow, amazing fucking experience. And it's just, you have people running out there right now trying to purchase, like what was it, hot stones, or like, oh, I bought
Oh,
this steel tongue drum, ha ha ha,
oh,
I'm gonna
what
become
now?
closer to
What?
God. Oh, trying to get closer to God, or whatever weird thing they're trying to achieve, some sense of, people think they can buy that. It's the same way people think they can go to church and buy a sense of self.
Yeah, I
I
saw a
mean,
commercial on it online. It's 39.99. You just make 65 payments and you're good.
too
It's
bad
all
they
in
can't
there.
buy a better personality. All the fucking shit starting they do, too bad they
Well, you
can't buy
got
a
all
better
right. So
damn.
one personality, which I've gotten annoyed by some people in their version of personality, which a lot of times it's just them being like sort of loud and annoying, and they make shitty jokes all the time and stupid shit. But that comes through living life, experience, and doing shit. That's where a lot of that comes from. Having your own point of view, Etsy. It's not something that you just have.
Damn.
Where's Oh, shit! Should have jumped out here. Goddamn. And I
Yeah,
died.
that's dang. What game you playing again?
Halo Infinite.
Oh yeah, damn.
Oh, you want to play Ninja
I need to get.
Turtles?
Yeah, I would, but I gotta watch the thing cooking out there because I know the old man ain't gonna watch it, so I'm kind of guarding back a little bit between two things. But
No, that's cool. Oh no, but
yeah,
I forgot shit. Yeah, so the problem is that a lot of that pain, a lot of that journey was you find out that the reward was the journey in itself. And they're like, I don't want to hear that. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you don't, but it's the truth. So it's just like when you're exercising and stuff like that. In their minds, it's like you get the muscles, you get the girl, and I'm like, wait, you're retarded. You're retarded. Like, hey, go do this, and then when you realize, hey, that doesn't hurt that much, or I did that a lot quicker and faster, or something like that, then you're like, oh, snaps. Yeah, now you see the benefit was the uh, in the action. It's well, not really an action itself.
No, yeah, pretty much. The
now,
discipline, what it took to have to change your life and to position yourself into such a way to actually get that done. Because
Yeah,
that's everybody wants muscles. Nobody wants to do everything to get them.
like eat
It's
right, go to sleep, lift heavy shit, and then
uh,
you can't just lift weights. You got to do different type of fucking
uh,
exercise, and you got to switch it up.
uh,
You got to change this shit up because your body's getting used to it.
wait, you mean to tell me it takes actual discipline to accomplish something?
Yes.
I
Holy
know, right?
crap!
I know,
So
right?
many
Fucking
people,
mind blowing.
so many people are screwed. They better give up right now. I mean, it's just,
I mean,
I'm able to laugh.
better be
Oh
quiet. I
man.
think we're onto the secrets of the universe over here.
They got to get me assassinated. Come on, man. They can't know
I
this.
mean, it freaking seems that way because every time I catch someone attempting to try to buy, I don't even know what they're trying to buy. Some sense of self, and like trying to gain some kind of like euphoria almost. Like, I discovered God today. Like, I don't know why. Like they believe if they spend X amount of money. Like, for example, I never thought survivalism would ever be a popular thing on YouTube. I see these little videos of like, this is my survivalism gear. I mean, you mean your camping gear? No, it's survivalism. Okay. Let's go pretend. Let's play this little weird game of pretend. That's what it is.
Well,
I mean,
well, I think too. I definitely think there's something coming down the way, and I think it's kind of as a collective, everybody kind of feels it. But yeah, it's about the same with everything. I mean, Yes, I like to watch some of them videos sometimes where the dude's like, yeah, I made a hot house out of, I don't know, fucking, saran wrap and fucking cow dung or
What?
something, and then
And that's
then he's out there in the middle of the fucking winter, and he's already got a stove he's dragged in there, and he's filling it up and everything, and ooh, it's nice and warm in here. Well, I guess it's dinner time, and he opens up his cooler and pulls out a fucking steak and shit. Like, I'm like, okay, if you're gonna just go camping and call it camping, okay, but if you're in the position where you're having to make a hot house out of whatever you got laying around, you ain't gonna have the luxury for a
Oh
stove.
yeah.
or a
So
steak.
I know where that comes from. So a lot of people have this idea that when shit hits the fan, they're gonna have their supplies plus whatever they could find and scourge it. And I'm like, well, honestly, if you like,
Well,
let's say somebody comes to kill you and you just need to leave whatever you have, what you're gonna have is whatever you
yeah.
have, whatever you can grab. That's it.
See, I mean, me and my cousin got into this argument, and the thing is, like, I want to have some stuff put up, and I've told him that. He goes, well, I don't see the point. Somebody gonna come along and take your shit. I said, yes, there's always that point too. I said, what if nobody comes take your shit? Then you just left yourself out to dry for no reason? I said, but what about you? Okay, what do you got going on if you gotta leave? Oh, I got a bug out bag. Okay, what you got in? Oh, fire starter, commando saw, a couple of them foil blankets. This, I said, so you ain't got to change a couple changes of clothes, couple boots, maybe some over shit, like an overcoat, something. You don't have any places out and around where you've got food stashed away and a weapon. Do you even know where you're gonna go? Yeah, I know where I'm gonna go. Okay, yeah, how you gonna get there? I'll just go over there.
Here's the thing. I know the answer.
On the main roads? I said,
know
because that's where shit's going to be going down. Like,
I know the answer to all those questions. You'll find out. You'll find out in the moment. That's I'm not.
guess.
That's actually how it works. You'll find out. Just like when they say, "Oh, you'll find out when we get there." You'll find out when shit gets rough how any of that's gonna play out. You can't predict the future.
See, that's what I do. I take that, prepare for the worst and hope for the best kind of situation. I'll put up I've got some stuff put up in my house right now. I feel I don't nearly have enough. I mean, as far as tools, I'm severely lacking in like tools and different stuff like that. I got a nice little bit of food put away, but I also understand the possibility too that at any moment somebody can come and take my shit out from under me. I mean, at that point, it's just you got to play it by ear. There's really not a whole hell of a lot you got control over at that point.
Yeah, just practice a little bit on different shit that you feel is necessary. But going crazy, buying like all this shit and everything, I'm like, that sounds cool. But I have this weird feeling that if I just did a little bit of research, I'd find out there was a bunch of people who did that in the past and that shit didn't work out like they thought it did.
Not to mention when you do all of this shit and you put it on the internet and it's like you don't think people could find that place. I mean, I wouldn't even worry about like supplies at this point. There's gonna be a lot of little bug out, bags on the ground, and maybe I'll run into you too and like, what's wrong with you? They got Carl. He went back for the bug out bag. He got Carl.
No, that's actually that's a real thing. That book that on the TFM show Halsey recommended it. The Shit Hit the Fan, Survival Stories, Memories from the Balkan War. I got that book and was reading that. And it's really good. And he actually makes one of those, like early on in the book, he makes that point just about what you just said right there. Now, going back for shit, let it go. You're going to fucking die. Just let it go. Like little stupid small shit. And what you find, like basically he was pointing out, it was like, hey, which it doesn't take much for you to really grasp this concept, is that your emotions, like just that type of shit, like it's gonna be running wild. People are gonna be scared, there's violence, everything, all that shit going down. But you gotta just stay adaptive, stay frosty, keep moving. I don't know who made Stay Frosty popular. I don't know why I said that. That was weird. Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, and a lot of different shit like that where it doesn't seem like again the bug out bag or the place with supplies I hid somewhere or some shit like that. It's like there's a lot of shit you're just gonna have to let go. Like that's it. When it's again, that's actually the reason why I made the comment earlier. when it comes time for somebody who wants to kill you, and you realize, hey, if I don't get out of here, I'm gonna die. You don't have a choice of taking this or that with you. You just go because
Mhm.
otherwise it's your fucking life. And here's the thing:
Well,
things can be bought again. They can be acquired again. But once you're dead, you're dead. That's it.
the wise words, anti Karen words. When that time comes, I'll try to save a couple of people. Like Bob, don't. Like we can find you more pussy. There'll be plenty of that. Gotta go. There'll be plenty of that where we're going, Bob. We'll find you more. There's other pussies out there.
The ceramic kitty cats are not a big deal. Oh, you mean the other?
No, damn, I forgot the point I was making. But yeah,
Well,
so
see,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say. I mean, I guess I believe in being prepared somewhat one way or the other. You always, because Terrence Popp even talked about this. I can't remember exactly the term he used, but basically, you have your A plan, and then you have your B and your C and your D. I mean, you have to go down the list of, well, if A don't work out, because most of the time your first plan, your first engagement never works out the way you think it's going to. It never works out, to plan.
Normally that
So
first plan is off of best case.
yes. So I mean, yeah, I understand. Like I argue so much with my cousin over this shit. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
I'm like, for something like your bug out bag or something like something a bag like that to keep in the car in case, I don't know, wintertime, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you slide off the road. Well, you got no cell phone, you can't call nobody, nobody's out there. Well, the first thing you're gonna have to do is try to find some kind of shelter if the integrity of the vehicle's been compromised. Yeah, you're gonna have to maybe try to build a fire and do, like, I understand certain things like that to get you through a couple of days to a week or so before somebody finally finds you. Yeah, I get, but I mean, like I told him, I said, okay, what if somebody they start surrounding the house or whatever and start beating down the doors? Grab that bag. Where are you gonna go? In the fucking woods? Like, okay, I mean, I guess that's fine, but you don't even know where you're going. You don't know how you're gonna get there. Well, I know how. Yeah, you can't take the main roads. That's where everybody's at. Do you know where there's rivers and lakes and mountains and shit? Like, you can't just go straight line from A to B because you're gonna end up big pond or something like that, or river. It just I'll go. Well, I'll go to my friend's brother's house. They got a couple of propane tanks.
All right, one.
Wow, couple of propane tanks.
Why would they let you in?
Well, that too, yeah.
Because I don't know, people know. So when things are good, you got plenty of friends, you got plenty of family. Once shit gets tight and resources are scarce,
yeah.
I tend to follow the 3-step method. I came, I saw, I walked away.
and people will find a reason to get rid of you.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
that's the idea. My friends, this, all this shit. All right.
That's what I told him, and I said, yeah, he's got his friend, his family, and his people, and he's got kids and all that. Yeah, sure, he's gonna just let you ride on there, and I'm sure about that. I said, all in all, where are you gonna go? You're gonna go over my place, right? You're gonna try to go 3.5 hours across the state to get to my place, right? Yeah, that's probably where I end up going. Yeah, good luck getting out
on
here.
Foot?
However he's got to do. He thinks that either that or, I'll just hurry up and drive out there. No, you're not. not down the major interstate. You're not.
Well, my thing is, I don't know. Well, there's no telling how things will play out, but I can guarantee you that just going somewhere willy-nilly is not gonna. Again, once aggression gets high and you don't know who's gonna kill who and all this other shit, and there's no real law and order and all that shit, the idea of just free, safe travel kind of goes out the window.
Well, when people's give a fuck has gone up and left, that's it. Like,
well, yeah, right now people can get
people will grab your ass up off the fucking road for your shoestrings and a pack of chewing gum.
Yeah, of course. And especially you're one lone dude, you're one guy. It's easy.
Mm-hmm. Be knifing each other for croutons and shit.
Oh hell yeah, can of beads. I'd kill a whole field of children over a can of beads. So
I wish his spoon was sharp right now. I'd stab a motherfucker. There's gonna be consequences and repercussions up in here.
so yeah, it's
You all know what that other guy did for a packet of ketchup.
right. But no, that's real shit. All that morality shit, a lot of that honor shit, and a lot of talk goes out the window, and then people. It's not like that, but see, that's one thing is never to revel in it and never get the idea that somebody's going to be like, oh, admit this or that. Let it go. That's something in life there's no point in it. You don't benefit from it. And if anything, if you do make it through some shit where you had a bunch of jackasses being jackasses, causing you a hard time and everything, and you were right, blasey blasey. Learn. Just like with everything, just learn and apply the lessons forward. How the fuck do I...
And we actually have to apply the things that we learned. God, there's so much stuff in this.
No, I've just got this feeling, and I need to. He got me riled up. I'm sorry, my cousin. He got me riled the fuck up over the last week or two. It's always like he seems to want to just take the counter argument and argue shit just to argue shit. I mean,
there's some people that like to play devil's advocate.
Well, it's to the point where, because I even try to talk to him about a lot of it. He wants to talk to me as if he's asking me about like friends and family members about well so and so and this girl cousin of mine and her husband and this happened and okay, seems like to me like this was this way and it seems like to me that was that way. Oh, what you take it up for him and it ain't like that and you just this like okay God like I'm just speculating at this point.
There's a simple solution that just tell him, man, I heard so and so jumped off a cliff. You want to join him? Why? But the cliff was just so great, just. They're using these little what-if situations. Just because it went bad or worked out well for someone else doesn't mean it's gonna work well for him.
Well, no, I mean, I'll have to elaborate more on the thing. I was trying to be a little bit more general. I've told you about this, Abyss. I believe I have. So, all right. So I'm talking with my cousin and everything, and he's telling me about his cousin on his dad's side of the family, his girl cousin. She's probably like 23, 24 now, young, fairly decently attractive, but talking about they got married and he was gonna go into the Marines or some shit, so they were on the base, and after she gave birth to their first kid, she comes home one day, finds him screwing some other woman in their own bed in their own house. He flips, she flips, he beats her ass. And I'm like, well, I mean, think about it. Why would he cheat on her in his own house, in his own bed? Like, at this point, he seems to want to get caught. I mean, it seems like to me his give a fuck has done gone up and left. I said, ass whoopings don't just fall out the sky. What would have had to have bring this man so much so to the point that he's going to cheat on his wife who just gave birth to their kid? Like, okay, yeah, you could just say he's just an asshole. He's just an asshole. I said, yeah, it's sometimes it's not just as simple as all that.
No,
he's in denial, and he still thinks he's king of the castle, so he thinks he can bring any woman he likes into his house because he thinks that men run the world. He's believed the lie of the patriarchy, and then fucking he's fallen for the fucking trap. You're not in control at all, lad. Oops.
I got a harem because I'm an alpha male.
But I tried to look at both sides of it. I'm like, this maybe he was just maybe he was getting yelled at. Maybe there was shit being thrown everywhere. Maybe she ain't done nothing with him in 4 or 5 months. Well, I mean, come on, man. She just had a baby. She just had a baby. I said her hands ain't broke, her mouth ain't broke. Well, man, that's fucked up. I'm like, well, look at it. Look at it this way. I said, if he were in a situation where he was in an accident and broke his dick, hey, you're in a relationship, you're married together, you need to be doing something then. I mean, he's a man, that's fucked up. You can't expect her to. Well, I mean, if you want your dog to stay in your yard, sometimes you gotta pet it once in a while. It just. But no, I'm a misogynist. I hate women. He doesn't know you guys personally, but he knows that there's a group of guys I talk to. Well, they're just brainwashing you, and like brainwash, like you brainwash people when you're in a cult. What's the benefit of me thinking like I'm thinking in this situation? Nobody
So
approves of the way we think.
Lurch.
What benefit am I gaining, or anybody else is gaining out of me thinking like this? Like, they hate my guts for thinking like this. Like, there's
The
no
problem
benefit.
is that they're projecting a lot there, bro, because you're not looking for answers. You've come to talk to people who understand what you see and what you know to be true, and that's the difference between this and a cult. Is a cult is people who are confused and need answers and need direction. I don't think you need much direction, bro. I think you just need to get some shit off your chest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know I do. I have a hard time letting shit go. But the thing I've had to talk to him about is then, well, if you don't want me to give my opinion about these people in your life and these people that you're talking to, stop talking to me about them. Because if you're only telling me to just tell me, I don't fucking care. Now, if you come to me like, hey, somebody's doing something, I kind of wonder why. What's the whole logic? And then I tell you why I think, and you don't like it. Well, tough shit.
Well, that's the whole point of it. The reason he's telling you that is because he doesn't want to just outright say, hey, how do you think about this? And this is why I talked about like the fucking social awkwardness with this. Instead of just saying, hey, how do you feel about this? He gives you a what if scenario or even an exaggerated one to see your thoughts on it, pick your brain. And then he's going to get offended by the answer that you happen to give when he more or less knows damn well how you feel about it. And I hate it when people do that. Just ask the fucking question you want to ask.
He tells me he's tired of hearing about it, that I'm preaching to him. That I just don't want to hear that shit.
Oh, okay, well, tell him,
well, that's what I told him. I said, well, then don't talk to me about this shit. Because it's something I'm passionate over.
As far as cults go, tell them go out there, do the Macarena, turn the music up, and then pray for rain or pussy or whatever the hell happens to come his way. Just damn it, people. And this is a whole little stupid thing. Like, I understand people have family, whatever. That's fine. It's when, like, for me, whether a person with somebody not, that's their shit. They don't have to come and project their little weird way of life on everybody else, especially when it's not working for them. He's mad it ain't working for him, trying to project and get some justification for his own fucked up ass choices. And this is what I'm talking about. The inability to make a fucking choice and stick to it. If you go out there and you get in a long term relationship, you get married or whatever, you may get fucked. Actually, it's highly likely you will get fucked. And if you have made yourself comfortable with that reality, then have at it. Maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones. That'll be a risk that you take. But for the love of God, stop walking up to everybody else and trying to tell that this is the funniest thing in the world. People come up to you and go, look at how happy I am. Let me tell you how miserable you are or how miserable you should be. So I can justify my own bullshit happiness because I'm unhappy. That's what that's all about. It's the fuck. This is why I hate insecurity. I hate insecurities. Like when I was younger, I didn't care. I ignored it. The older I get, I hate insecure people. Especially some people are too goddamn old to be acting that way. This isn't a fucking high school kind of thing. You hear people walking around, and I close my eyes. It's like high school all over again. Here we have the alpha giga cucks, and here we got the sigmas flying under the damn bleachers trying to score one out there, trying to rub one out, and it's just all of it, man.
What?
Just flying on the bleachers, going for pussy flights or whatever the fuck, flight of fan. I don't know. It's just stupid. I'm not trying to be a dick about this, but just
set him straight, SFM. Set him straight.
I don't know what the Sigma is. I don't know what any of that shit is.
Whatever weird term they got. They got Silpha, like freaking Sigma, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, fuckface, and the worst part about it is the guy who came up with that shit even admitted he was wrong about that shit. And by then it didn't even fucking matter because everyone was already using the shit. But even the guy who made the fucking thing, like say he was a bit off about it. And then people just kept fucking using it.
Well, it's just
and people got all these terms to describe that they're a piece of shit. I mean,
those terms again. Labels don't mean shit. Those terms don't mean a goddamn thing.
They live on them. They don't mean a goddamn thing, but people blow them up.
Well,
Don't mean things.
you
Someone
gotta
walks up to
remember.
me and says,
So a lot of times, men we like to systematize shit. We love establishing hierarchies and shit like that, and putting in that pecking order. And labels are a way to basically establish that. So if I call you this, you're this. That means you're below this because you possess these attributes, or you can't live up to this, or some stupid shit.
It's really just a way to discuss it when you think about it. Like, I mean, you can call it whatever you fucking like, but you got to give it a reference point for it to be something to talk about. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I just don't like how strictly people live by. I mean, last fucker to come up and say, "Oh, I'm an alpha." Oh, cool. I have a dick and balls. How are we gonna play this?
They're all alphas, bro. They're all alphas. Get out of their way. The whole world's alpha, bro.
I hate that word. I'll be honest. I don't know what the fuck happened and why that's a thing.
So dumb. I mean, that's what I'm starting saying. Anytime somebody walks up to me and go, "I'm an alpha," I'm like, "Cool, I got dick and balls." Like, what are we doing?
It's called. Well, we know what it's called. It's toxic masculinity when people think like that because everyone wants to be king of the hill, and the easiest way is just to say you are.
That's an easy way to get your ass kicked too.
Yeah, but I mean, they're pretty good at running away too, so.
A lot of alphas getting their ass kicked.
Like, holy shit.
Maybe one day I'll make a parody about that. Go to the zoo, backhand the lion. How'd you lose an arm? The lion didn't respect my alphaness.
It is what it is.
It wasn't me.
Because at the end of the day, that's the thing. So it's just like Nietzsche said, like the truth isn't so weak that it needs me to defend it. And it's another way of saying that it doesn't matter. Well, yeah, another way to put that is words aren't an indicator of reality. So just because you say something doesn't mean that it is.
Truth doesn't damage points of view that are legitimate.
You never read the Giga Chat fortune cookie before? Let me open it. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. That's what it is.
Oh, magical thinking?
The power of magic. I mean, every time I see, like, it doesn't even matter, guy, woman, anybody that lives in delusion, I just assume they ride the magic short school bus. That's about it. The magic short school bus. Where does it go? Who knows? It goes everywhere.
Yeah, but reality's scary, bro, and introspection and reflections and shit like that aren't convenient. So you'll never get people to basically delve into themselves the same way people like us try to. Some more so than others, some better than others and shit. But at the end of the day, most people won't even try. It's Al Gore used the phrase "an inconvenient truth," and that's pretty much where a lot of reality is for people. Inconvenient. I'll just reject that. And I'll just make up my own way of looking at the world.
Well, because everybody's not after truth. It's not valuable. Like, value is subjective as shit for everything. And the truth, like, again, in that situation, for you, the truth was valuable because it helped with certain decision making or fill in some holes or whatever. But for the other person, all it does is cause them pain. So as far as they're concerned, the truth is worthless. They can't do anything with it. So they're going to reject it, and they're going to attack someone who made them see the truth, or try to make them try to take my reality away. My wife loves me. She's not like other women. What's wrong with you? I don't know. I don't know what they call themselves anymore.
My cousin.
I'm really starting to think
That's who he goes after.
I'm really starting to think I missed an inspiring career as a fucking zoologist. Just do little world travels. As you can see, this is Karen. She's approximately 30 years old, going on 5, and she seems pretty angry today. Maybe she needs a fucking biscuit. I mean, that's the whole thing with this shit. Maybe a sedative or a fucking biscuit. Calm that bitch down. That's the issue with, like, a lot of this crap. I mean, it's the effeminization of society. No one knows skills anymore. Everyone functions on emotion. I mean, even with all, and they get tribalism wrong too. I'm gonna try to say this to every person that happens to encounter this little stream or whatever. Let me explain this. When shit gets bad all over the world, people aren't gonna care what race you are. At the moment you become a liability, they'll take your ass out.
No, they care what race you are because people self-segregate already, and then when tensions are high, race is like the easiest identifier.
Yeah. And even with that, nobody's gonna ultimately care anyway, because the moment you become a liability and blood, get the fuck out of here. It's about it. I mean, I think Granddad from the Boondocks had it perfectly when he was running away from the stink meter zombies. I lived, you died. I lived,
But see,
you
that's
died.
it. Just is part of being human, bro. Like it's neither good nor bad. You just got to acknowledge that it is a thing, though. You know?
True
Yeah,
that.
it's a thing. I'm just saying, ain't this all encapsulating thing where people think they're gonna be on the top? All like for me, fuck my tribe is what my family and the close friends I have. Fuck that tribe shit. Is if somebody's already on the bottom, why the hell would you join a tribe where you're also on the bottom? Seems kind of
Oh, because
fucking.
you won't have a choice, bro. It's better to be in the bottom in a tribe to defend yourself than it is to stand alone and be torn to shreds. And
That
most people take that attitude.
we were talking about that earlier, and it was about the whole thing about the things that can't be substituted in the current environment versus back when there were close communities and families and there wasn't huge government welfare for them to basically fall back on. And a lot of those
Yeah.
benefits, even if you did know, like let's say even if you didn't really go along with things, the benefits were the reason why you would still stay and go along, even if like mentally you're like, I actually hate this shit. But again, the benefits far outweigh the consequences, the cost. Let's put it that way. So it makes more sense for you to go along with it. It makes more sense for you to celebrate that culture and do all that shit. Because the alternative is you don't have a safety net. You don't have this social network or any of that shit. Like
But
a
the
lot
big
of the things
question is to go
Yeah,
along with it though, is what will it cost? What is the cost of going that direction though? That's one thing a lot of people don't. They see. I guess they don't see as far into the future philosophically as a lot of people do when they think about things like that. Like, okay, that's great. I'll go along with that way of thinking, and that'll mitigate this risk or this problem. But what's the hidden cost? What's the things that I don't know about? What you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I don't fall into that trap of thinking that it's wise to seek the comfort of the group. Or the protection of the group, because ultimately you do know when it comes to crime, most people that steal from you are your friends, family, and neighbours.
Yep.
Your supposed
Yep.
group.
A lot of crimes are that way. It's by somebody you know or close to.
Oh yeah.
It always is,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yep.
only by pure luck that you get those flyby thefts, or those things. That's why stranger danger is such a big fucking lie, man. It's kids don't get molested by strangers, bro. They get molested by friends and family. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I mean that's not funny, but
Yep.
yeah, the fact that they would they
Well,
try to purposely. Well, no,
the
hold up.
irony
So
is
no,
funny.
when it comes
Yeah.
down to a woman getting custody from a dude, all of a sudden now it's like, hey, children are mainly molested by their fathers. It's like I don't think that's true. I don't think that's. I remember like a long, long,
Well,
long time ago, there was an
no,
argument
not
with one of my brothers. It wasn't really an argument, but she tried to make it an argument, and I'm like, well, no, actually, like the majority of people who like molest kids are women. And she was like,
yeah,
oh, and her. And I'm like, well, no, it's true. And you got to think about it. And it's not one of those things to say who's capable more or less. It's who has access. And majority of children are around women. That's it.
that's right. That's right.
same thing with women are at least twice as likely to kill their own kids too.
The more somebody's trust that they have, the more they have to betray.
I mean, look at all the instances now of bullshit going on in the schools. These female teachers, like a lot of this shit's coming out now.
Yeah.
More and more of these stories where they're she was having sex with a 15-year-old kid,
Oh, it's
15-year-old
just the tip
boy.
of the iceberg,
It was
man.
was
Wait till you
one not
find out
long ago.
about all
Somebody
these
did it.
kids that
I
are
guess it
fucking.
was a girl.
Well, you wait
I'm
to
just
hear about
waiting
all
for
the kids that were physically and psychologically abused that haven't come forward or been taken seriously, man. It's just tip of the
Oh
iceberg
yeah.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just waiting for one of those kids to finally just go into a courtroom and our teacher took us on a field trip and everybody got a turn. Fuck. Was waiting for that.
Well, that's
even Timmy in the wheelchair. 3 of us had to lift him up and lower him down on her face.
Nice.
All
Quite
right,
South Park. Nice.
no. But actually, this is one of those things where you start realizing. So the environment was changing for a lot of people as their children versus when the previous generation was children, and so you start seeing, give it a decade and a half or 2 decades later, you start seeing the results of a lot of that shit. And so it's weird. Like, no, it's not weird. We know why. But they'll still deny that the processes that they're putting in place have negative results versus, and I say negative based on what we say we want. So again, this is where a lot of times about perspective and goals.
Subjective, yeah.
Yeah, you start
We get it.
noticing that we're not all speaking the same language, and a lot of like sometimes it's just straight up lying. We're passing along improper information. So when we're saying, "Hey, we want productive, skillful adult," that's not basically we're not putting in the ingredients to get that. We're putting in the ingredients to get the opposite, and we know that, and we're still continuing to do that, which shows that that was never like, well, if it was, it isn't anymore the goal.
Yeah, we're putting sugar, spice, and everything fucked up in the pot, and it goes back to that thing I'm saying. I mean, when all the authority is female, that's what it is.
We're
Fucking
missing
chemical X. When all the fucking authority is like female, I mean, that's why respect for men went down the fucking drain. I mean, it's so insane.
Well, see, and I was gonna say that because it's all if the females have the access to the children, and damn you if you're gonna say a female ain't doing her job right or got to do this or got to do that. So yeah, I mean, I think they even know, like you said, they're putting all these fucked up ingredients into the pot and expecting, something good to come out. But you can't call them out on it because they're women. And
I don't think they know what to expect
doing.
out of it. I don't think they know what to expect out of it, but
I don't
they
even think they care to know what to expect.
They're just throwing a bunch of shit up in there.
They're happy to just throw whatever into the pot and hear the plopping noises. They don't give a fuck about what comes out at the end.
And that's the whole fucking thing about it. The risk of fuck, I'll take the heat for this shit. If anything with a vagina happened to watch this fucking stream, next time you want to talk about how superior you are, thank God.
Wash it first. Wash that fucker first.
Also, it doesn't matter. One thing that I've actually basically, it doesn't matter about somebody's thoughts about their superiority or any of that shit. That's like literally that's.
I know it doesn't matter, but I just want to hammer this in, even for the men that fucking feel this way. Women were not meant to be in no dominant role. I mean, you're on your back when you take a dick. There is nothing anatomically about them that is superior genetically and anything. I don't know, like, used to be a time rearing kids, it was considered an honorable thing. We didn't give them gender roles because they couldn't do anything else. We gave them gender roles because that was the best fucking thing for them ever since caveman days. Pop the snake upside the head, pop the woman upside the head, the chocolate out of line, pop him upside the fucking head. And that's the whole freaking thing about it. If the woman doesn't respect you, neither will the children. And this is why they historically got their ass kicked multiple fucking times. We've asked 3 simple things all throughout human history. Look clean, look nice, and by golly, shut the fuck up when necessary. Jesus Christ.
All right, but back to what I think PJP was trying to say was that you were saying that they know how to benefit from the situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
They know how to twist shit around and get the benefit out of it.
That's the thing. Should have all been fucking lawyers, especially fucking college educated bitches. The happen is, like, fucking Western women got jerked off so much, and then you don't see them doing this shit in a couple other places that they try to, but they don't. You're not gonna see them do this in some hellish place. Go in the middle of the desert, you won't find feminism there. Go in the middle of a cold fucking tundra, you won't find feminism there. Only in these fucking really comfortable places where shit get comfortable.
People are well off. Yeah.
That's the whole thing about it. Even the Amish don't be worrying about this too much. I mean, hell, they still live more or less rural. You're not gonna hear too many bitching there. I mean, all I know is when it comes to manual fucking labor, feminists go get a little silent on that. Get real silent on it. Could it be that maybe you suck? Could it be that maybe all this stupid shit not what it cracked up to be? But these fucking women, they compare themselves to the top 10% of men, and the average man can't even compare themselves. We can't even compare ourselves to these motherfuckers. None of us live like Elon. These stupid, you have bitches working at a damn Dixie Queen, all these other places, thinking if I just spread my legs wide enough, or if I just work hard enough, I too can be superior. No, not ever gonna fucking happen. Even if
Well,
you fuck your way to the top.
honestly, I still hold the thought that women are giant children, so I don't really give a shit about their expectations on
Yes,
things
I've been saying
because
that
they
for
don't live
years.
in
Yeah,
reality.
they are.
But
I think
one
you're
of
kinder than me. They're retarded children.
the more important parts that were getting at is that they don't really give a shit about the outcome because they know that they can benefit from it. Now, the reason why you would have that mentality is because you know that you have the leverage, you have the upper hand in the situation. So no matter
And you
how
got
it
nothing
plays
to
out,
lose.
yeah, exactly. So no matter how it plays out, you still call the shots. So you can just make it to whatever you need it to be, in a sense. So at that point, I think that's why a lot of guys. Spetnaz said it great in one of his videos. It was "Kill Your Darlings" or something like that, and he was saying that a lot of guys got it twisted because they think that they're gonna like ride off into the sunset or some shit, and that's not the case. Like that's not what's gonna be happening at all. Like it's actually gonna get really tough and really bad, and you could see it more and more. Like I was just looking at some stats, and it was one of the things I think they said. No, I don't. I mean, you can take it for a grain of salt, whatever you want. But they were saying that the suicide is the 12th leading cause of death in the U.S. and it's the highest for middle-aged white men.
I was going to say, I doubt that stat. They should be at least in the top 5. Shit.
Well, for middle-aged white men, that means it would be like damn near, yeah, probably like one of the leading ones.
Yeah,
Actually, yeah.
that
Oh, damn. If only I was black,
in general,
I'd be okay.
it's usually heart disease and cancer. And
And there was one other
I mean,
one
no, I
where it was
think
talking about
the leading cause of the
divorces amongst people age 50 up is on the rise, and I thought that was funny for a couple of reasons. One, the marriage rate is going down, and so, but one thing I have noticed is a lot of like when people like these people who are getting married in like their late 30s and shit, and I guarantee there's a bunch of dudes in like their late 40s or something marrying these old ass single mothers and shit like that, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's really dumb, man. Like
Well,
a
there
lot of
are.
men fall for this, thinking that if you marry later, it's better for everyone and all this kind of
Oh,
shit.
it's
But it's like, no. If you're going to be
No,
I think it's
dumb,
terrible.
you're better off being dumb when you're young, so you still got more of
Yeah.
your life left to fix it.
I think it's very terrible for anyone to wait until like their 40, 50-year-old to have a kid or start a family. That's something they should do in their fucking 20s. One of the biggest things is people become set in their ways, and even if they're open to the idea, like me for example, I walk away from shit. If the situation is not going the way I want to go, or I have to fight for basic respect in my own household, I'll go out for milk. I'll just leave for milk. Oh, where'd he go? I'm gone, bitch. Leave for milk. Call a fucking day. The whole
we
thing
gotta.
about it is,
So let's make a quick point right here.
I'm gonna go get some smokes. You don't even smoke, so
that that was an option before. So that was actually a real out. It's like, hey, I'll just leave. So you need to act right. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, they've pretty much shored that up.
yeah, the market for that
Oh,
dried
yeah.
up a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, no,
I mean,
this is
people
something
probably
you've
got,
said time and time again, man, and you're dead right. There's no better way to put it, man. When there's no consequences to people's actions, they're going to fucking do shitty things.
Well, hell yeah, that's why it's so easy for a woman to abuse the shit. Like people laugh at it, but it's kind of at this point, it's silently known that women just basically abuse the shit out of dudes in relationships. Like you're married or something like that. Because where are you going? And when you do leave, the cost of you leaving is so fucking absurd. She has so many things she can do to you, and the government is right there obliging,
they know they can
waiting.
get away with it.
Well, yeah, and so that the idea of I'll just leave, that's not a thing anymore. So, but here's the thing: as it's very apparent, the cost of getting into a relationship or basically basically being ensnared to the government is very, very low. Like the cost of entry is low. The exit
Married for entry,
costs. The exit cost can be your life savings,
yeah.
can be your life. You could be in prison for some bullshit, it's extremely high. So at that point, you don't
Well, that's
have
what they
to.
want. They
I was gonna say you just don't have to convince anybody.
the
They
dangling
can
the
see
carrot.
it. They can see it for
Yep.
themselves.
But they
Yeah.
won't. That's the biggest problem. Is it becomes an inconvenient truth. So they do see it, but like socially, as far as like their social persona and their ability to sort of be an honest person and deal with the world honestly, like that's when like it all just because the narrative goes against the narrative and like it really fucking does men's heads in. That's why they don't like being spoken truths like the stuff we talk about. They hate it, man, because they know there's no way to reconcile it given the situation in the world that we live in. So usually they just shoot the messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because how dare you ruin my idealistic men? Because men are idealistic about women, anyways. And then so
Yeah.
you leave it up to. So it's at a certain point you kind of realize that's why you shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like if you like these young dudes, like a
It's
lot of guys, like I want to go help the youth. It's like they're not going to let you.
No, that's
yeah,
right.
they
As
won't.
soon as you do
They won't
something
do
that's
that.
not what they want it to be, man, trust me, they're going to lash out, and you're the only one in front of them to lash out at.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So
why I think it's gonna happen one way or the other, whether they shoot the messenger or not. I mean, at least it'll open up a lot of jobs. I've been thinking about being a woman walker for the longest time. Get enough leashes, maybe 10 of them on a single leash. Go. Then you don't pick up that poop. So we got guy for that.
well, I think
Shit.
Did you
it's
seriously?
well,
Sorry, I just quickly just asked this question. You can go back to what you're saying, but I just want to quickly ask: did you seriously, honestly change your fucking gender or your sex on your license as FM to female?
why are you asking that? What?
Because you reference it so many times. You said it so many times. Like it almost seems like it's not a joke. Sometimes I have to ask myself, it's like, did he seriously do that? Because he keeps dropping that all the time,
When did I
and it
drop that?
seems. Oh, you drop it all the time. Don't make me go back and fucking go through all my secret recordings that I've got of you.
I've been exposed.
No, but no, I just thought I'd ask the question because you're bringing up quite a few times.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah,
identify
actually,
as a
yeah,
woman.
I did.
Well,
You
TFM
did.
brings that up a lot too, and I think
Yeah, actually,
TFM
I
actually
did.
did.
And honestly, there's nothing. There's no downsides at all. Like nothing's happened. And actually, one of the fun things that I found out, and which this, so if you understand people, people gossip. Period. That's how it is. And so when you're a single male going around, people automatically other dudes think it's their job to try to investigate and try to shore you up. I don't know how many old dudes who want to act tough, and I'm just sitting there like I know this is a crybaby game because you're gonna pop your chest and all this shit, and the moment I stand up, you're gonna act like I don't know broke some type of fucking thing. I'm not gonna be your bitch, so you can let it go. And also, the women
Oh,
don't like that shit when you're a dude who doesn't simp over them. You don't give a fuck. And so what'll happen is HR,
Mhm.
doesn't matter if it's a dude or a woman, they're gonna gossip. And so once they see that paperwork and it's legit, now you magically get left the fuck alone. That's it. You don't get bothered at all. That's it. And now you can actually do your work. And then after a
Are you
while,
sure about that though? Have you are you really sure it's not just maybe you did that and your attitude changed and people are responding to a difference in your you see what I'm saying? Like, are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Because I'm
It
thinking
could be
about
a
yeah,
doing
little,
it.
a
yes. Like
little each.
especially
It
at
could be a
my
mixture of.
especially at my last job, that's damn sure what the case was. So it it can depend on the environment and it can depend on how many people, but as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen any downsides to it. And if it's like if you're worried about look one like well here's one I have noticed. So if you go to pick up your firearms and stuff like that, that will be a thing. That will be noticed. But at the same time, there hasn't been anything negative after that. I mean, they kind of stiffen up and look at you kind of like I don't know what the hell to expect because it's not like they can ask you like, "Hey, were you born with a dick or not?" They can't do anything like that. So,
Well,
uh,
any rational person would straight away go, "Are you doing this to give
That's
yourself
not a
access
Shayla.
to women's spaces? Are you doing this to get into the women's toilets?" Like that's what a rational
yeah.
person would probably think.
I would have just simply asked, are you a 9 millimeter or what caliber?
one, I really
Or just
hope
a
that
girl?
some dude's not really doing that to go into the female bathroom. I don't know what they expect is in there, but they know what bathrooms are for, right?
I was one of the ones, marking
Yeah.
with them dumbass, college kids. We need litter box in the bathroom. I'm waiting for that litter box. And go in, maybe dressed as a cat, lick my arm, piss on the bitch's shoes, and just go right in there and use the litter box. I mean, waiting my whole life for that moment. Been waiting.
Okay.
Lay down a log. Start kicking litter everywhere. Hey, it ain't my problem now. Cats don't clean up their own. I ain't cleaning up my own either. And you deal with the log.
How did we get on
Long
this
arm the
topic
log.
again?
Oh, because you said that I'm a tranny, and then so we're like, yeah, fuck those trannies. We're tired of this shit, and you probably just want to use women's bathrooms. And I'm like, hey man,
See,
that's not what this is at all.
Just walk in and just start pissing on the wall and go, but in the other toilets we have toilets on the wall.
No, I would go the other way.
Well, honestly,
this is mine.
As
this
far
is
as
mine.
as far
All
as
this is mine.
yeah,
Mark my territory.
As far as dudes, like again, because I'm not. There's no one size fits all anything for anybody. So depending on your situation is depending on what you see that you need to do to give you some peace of mind. It made me feel better. I'm like, shit, now I can not be fucking bothered. And from my point of view, results that I got before and then after were completely different. And that was even at one company that I was at. So for me, I saw like, all right, I'm seeing better results. Awesome. For somebody else, you might not, depending on where you're at. So
I'm sort of in redneck country here a little bit, somewhat.
Yeah,
Anyway,
might be a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, it wouldn't be. It'd be fun because then it'd make my day more exciting, knowing that at the drop of a hat, I'm going to have to snap some motherfucker's neck. But
yeah,
still, I don't have time for this shit.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and because I'm not a weak person, and I'm pretty sure people can visually pick up on that, and so, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not one. I don't. I know the cost of actually teaching somebody how to learn their manners, and a lot of people aren't worth that. Two, I know that a lot of men are crybabies. So they talk about I'm not a weak man and all this other shit, but then if you listen to them long enough and you just pay attention, it's like I think you are one of them. It's even the ones who identify themselves as right wing. The only difference between them and the left wing dude is probably like I don't know, their guts or something. I don't fucking know. I can't see much.
Well, it's begging for empathy is what it is. It's begging for empathy. Yeah, it's a common human trait. Everyone will do it, man.
Yeah, that's why I just say.
Well, I thought a lot of this was like the whole one good man thing. Because I mean, I get a lot of people. I'm not like that. Well, everybody else says I'm not like that. I don't see that way. I'm not like you only are or are not until you need to be. Like,
yep. Yep.
Oh yeah, people like to oversimplify like that because it is kind of people objectify it, whether you like it or not, and it's a way of taking something, turning it into a very simple object in order to understand it, process it, and move on. And people do that. There's generalizing, oversimplifying, and we all know it's not how the world works. The world's grey, not black and white. But for most people, they need it to be black and white.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it's easy. It's simple. You don't have to really do much thinking. You can just go here. Is it on or off, and then you move on.
Yep.
That's it. You don't have to do any like what I was suggested earlier. It's like, hey, looking from different points of view, different perspectives. It's like, hey, maybe they have different motivations and goals. I need to analyze this a little further. That takes time. That takes thought. You got to use mental energy on that shit. And
that's right.
It's actually quite surprising that a lot of people find, I guess, mental exertion exhausting. I don't know if I said that.
It requires energy. Yeah, learning requires energy. Thought requires energy. That's why school kids come home from school if they're genuinely trying to learn. They come home a little bit tired and worn out mentally because they've had to spend all day thinking. So it does require energy and effort and time. But the funny thing is that people should do that, because if you look at statistically throughout history, the people who were at one point in time perceived to be one of the greatest men or greatest persons on the planet did the most evilest things. Fucking Hitler was on Time magazine's cover before he gassed the Jews. What's his name? Fucking Epstein was loved by everybody until they found out what the fuck was going on. You know what I mean? So that is the sad part about it, is usually when people reduce it down to black and white, they usually get it dead set wrong nearly every time. Judging a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people, too, are so charming, and they know how to position themselves in such a way that, people do admire and adore them. And then
no, they don't position themselves.
Like,
it
was just a ruse all the time.
Bro. I don't think a lot of these people pursue these positions, and that's one of the things where people do project a little bit and say, not project, but they do oversimplify that and say that, well, bad people are the sorts of people who pursue these things to do bad things. But sometimes it's just normal people in a situation where there are no consequences for being bad, so they just do it. They're not bad people; they just end up becoming that.
Well, that's more back to the power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely,
it's in
everybody. It's in everybody. I mean,
yes.
You just happen to get a lucky break and find yourself in a situation. You don't know what you're capable of or what you're not capable of until you actually have the means and the ability to be unfettered in your behavior. You be unhindered. Some people, be the nicest people you ever met. You give them $1 billion, and boy, they go fuck nuts.
Yeah, and that's the shadow self that's inside everybody. That's very ugly and it's not pretty. And everybody tries to either live in denial of it or try and hide it, and that's why you end up with a world that gets worse and worse. Because when you live in ignorance of your shadow self consumes you.
I don't. Where's that term now? Shadow self. What is that?
It ties back to Nietzsche. You'll do a little bit of homework. Oh, that's where that motherfucker got that from.
Probably. I don't know. I don't do as much reading as I used to, so I'll probably.
Yeah, you're fairly well read, bro. I've got respect for that. You pick up and you try to learn things, which is something that a lot of people tend to not do, and I've got a lot of respect for you for that, bro. That's why I enjoy a good conversation here and there with you, because I know you've done some homework.
Oh, what else is there in life?
Fun.
For some
sex,
of us,
women.
Well, no. Well, my thing is, besides all that, because one, sex doesn't have any other real path to
purpose.
Yeah, it's basically its meaning is within itself.
It's its own ends. Yeah.
So there's no point. But learning, improving. And also, I hate the idea that people get this idea, and it's like they get it from the idea like you start one career and you just do that for the rest of your life. And so you get one meaning and purpose, and that's just it. And I'm like, huh? I don't think that's how that works, because especially if you're the one dictating what your meaning and purpose is, I don't think that it has to be set in stone. That's a weird stance on that. I don't know. I just thought I always think it's weird how they get into these modes of thinking where something basically has to be the static thing for on, and I'm like, I don't know where you got that from or why that makes sense. But I could see where it could be a benefit, and I guess when you think about it work wise, yeah, sure. But even then, still, you'd have to adapt, and there'd be some changes. But especially when it comes down to something like your identity and your goals and shit like that, that would be something that can't stay the same at all. So it's like people who run with their just same. Like if I tried to have the same principles I had when I was 18 to now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'd be in a lot of fucking trouble if I thought like I was 18. Oh no, God.
There's some people who try to go about that way. Like, I've been the same since such and such. And it's like, I don't know why the fuck you're wearing it like that's a badge of honor.
I've been somewhat the same, but then again, I'm a totally different person. There's a few aspects that have carried over, but
the reason why a lot of people hold it as a badge of honor, man, is because what they're trying to do is they're trying to signal the fact that they're so spoilt or so special that they don't even have to learn to grow up and be a responsible adult.
Yes. They come out the box already pre-assembled.
Yeah.
As a Toys R Us kid,
Fuck
I
out of
will
here with
not
them
share
Allen
my
wrenches.
Legos.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. Holy shit. That is some really retarded shit. Motherfuckers, they just, I get it. So yeah, I don't need to have any work done on me. I'm already I don't know,
a complete
fully
person.
yeah. I don't need the
And
experience.
you know who thinks
I am the experience.
and you know who thinks like that? Women when they go, I don't need to work. I got a man that works for me. I don't even need to try. That's what it
because
reminds me of.
basically, as the man improves, so do their benefits from him. So their social status, financial gain, all that shit improves,
You know,
and they
I
get to
remember
hold that
saying,
over other women who don't have a man of that caliber who can provide the lifestyle that they have. So
Yeah.
that's why they
like,
don't
children do
give a shit about that.
children do the exact same thing. Look, my parent buys me ice cream. What does your parent give you? Oh, I got a rock. I mean, the
Well,
whole
the
thing about it.
similarity there,
Charlie Brown.
yeah, the similarity there is it's basically an outlook on dependents who can't do for themselves. But one of those
Yep.
actually goes up, and if properly influenced and invested in, will be able to do for themselves. The other is a forever dependent. They don't ever do for themselves ever.
See, I've seen this situation. I mean, it still was very rare even when I was growing up. But everybody, I wear these clothes. I've got this video game. I've this and I'm that. And yeah, you play those games on that level, but you find that one motherfucker that like 16 fucking worked on a farm, busted his ass, saved up enough money, got him a car, and he's got a job, and everybody's like, oh, look at that. He's got his own job. He owns that car. Like, everybody all of a sudden shut the fuck up about what was going on laterally, and it's like, wow, this dude here, this dude here is fucking awesome. It's like, So even on that level, don't mean
that's
shit.
Objectification, and it's glorifying the results and not acknowledging the work and the effort that has to be put in to get there.
Yep.
And that's pretty sad.
Well, but like SFM was saying though, just a bunch of dependents pointing and laughing and snickering about how they're, the people that are taking care of them are giving them this and giving them that. And then all of a sudden, none of that fucking matters when a dude walks by that's bought his own car and got his own job. All of a sudden, everybody, no matter what you got or how much or how little, goes, wow, that guy, that guy's the shit. Like, even they acknowledge that somebody who's working for their own shit is, got it better than they do. But, I mean, yeah, they don't, I know what you're saying. They don't want to fucking think about how he went to go about getting it. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, none of that shit matters. All of a sudden, this dude walks by, and everybody, it doesn't matter what clothes you got on or anything like that anymore. It's, wow, this dude here, this dude's the shit. Yeah. So even they recognize,
That's the whole
Don't
thing.
mind me, I've just had lots of coffee, so just bear with me while I just cut everyone off and call values.
No worries, man.
It's all right. We're all human here. It doesn't bother us. I don't think it does. I don't know. I don't give a shit.
I identify as a woman creature that does.
So I may or may not be partaking in some other chemicals, so I may get running off at the mouth here anytime too.
Well, no, it's cool because I don't know. Some people take shit a little too serious, and so my thing is when you're having a conversation with people and you're communicating all these ideas and you got emotions and all this other shit going, I can see expecting a certain standard or whatever, but having a sort of like rigid authoritarian line with that shit that's not my cup of tea. Because all that shit does is disrupt the conversation. It just makes it worse.
Yeah, plus it helps to have a healthy flow of conversation. I just figure if you're gonna do something crazy, do it right. I might one day get a coconut, wait over and overpass, no particular reason. It'll just be a very interesting coconut.
If you're not going to be good, be good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's like a 2-week period though of preparation before you do that, man. Remember, you gotta replace its fluids and maintain its
Well,
integrity, and you gotta keep it behind.
all I
You,
can
you
say
can't keep it
is,
behind the radiator because
Are we talking about women
things
or
happen.
what?
all I can say,
I
if Randy Moss,
it's a little it's a little of an inside joke. I'm sorry. We're kind of
all I can say, if
you
Randy
gotta you
Moss
gotta
can
you
do
gotta
it, I
you
can
gotta
find a
tell
way.
him the coconut story.
Oh yeah,
If he ain't
apparently
heard the
some dude.
coconut story,
Oh yeah, I told
that
him about the coconut story. Apparently, some dude, I don't know whether the fucker was homeless or not. He had this coconut, and so
oh
he threw the
we
coconut at the.
I think we told him, but
Yeah, I think we probably told him, but that dude threw the coconut at the cop car, and it was milk in there, just wasn't coconut milk.
What?
So that I heard it coming from police. So that
there
takes it
was
to a
there
whole
was a
new
couple of weeks of preparation, and there was some work got put into that coconut.
That's fucking disgusting. Holy shit.
and, and he said he threw it at the cop car and it shattered. And so that's what
The
he's talking
worst part
about by
about
getting a coconut. And
the worst part
well, I
about this
told him
shit is
me and him been talking. We gonna try to make up some kind of comics or comic book characters, and he's gonna be well, no, you were orange. You just beat people with a bag of oranges.
we'll come up
Because it
with
don't leave a
something.
bruise and it tells them who's boss. I'm Melon Lord. I'm Melon Lord because after I beat somebody's ass, I leave a melon with a hole in it as a calling card.
All right,
No questions asked. Just there it is.
why is it fruit? Why is it fruit themed?
It's it's it just
He
happened to
doesn't.
be
He
that
doesn't.
way because there's
We would tur- we
just
I
prefer
am
worked
the
I
out
am
that
term
way.
confused. You have confused me now. I am confused.
I'm just like at this
we
point, I'm
would
like whatever. The conversation
So-
must have been good when they were coming up with the ideas. So I don't know.
all I can tell you is a lot of liquor went into this planning. Don't ruin it.
PJP would be the prune guy. PJP would be the prune guy. Of course, he runs really, really fast. He's got the runs.
Oh shit! So
Yeah.
back to what I was talking about. So the suicide rate and the divorce for yeah. So
Oh yeah.
looking at I'm looking at this shit, and at a certain point, even as so that's the thing. So even as these things are changing, dudes are still getting the shaft because what's happening is they're essentially just well, I don't know how to really put that because there are dudes who are still getting married. I believe it's later on, and it's probably not that large of an amount. But at the same time, the system is so fucked that they're basically just getting destroyed and probably just killing themselves. Which divorce is one of
I
the
think
main
it's
reasons
6.5.
why. Yep, go ahead.
Terrence Pop says it's 6.5 out of every 1,000 men are getting married anymore, and I feel sorry for that poor bastard they had to cut in half to get that stat.
Right?
But it's like six and a
Depends where you
half
go,
to
man.
every 1,000 now.
The problem with statistics is that they're very generalized, man. Depends where you go, bro. Where I am here, man, it'd be easily still 90% of these dudes haven't woken up to this shit. Easy. They're
Yeah.
still doing it.
I mean that's the way he talks about with the military and why there's such a homeless problem and everything and suicide problem among military veterans. And it's because they come home after they've been deployed, find out, their wife's been cheating or they're going to divorce them or this, that, whatever. Now they're homeless and they take themselves out because they can't see their kids.
And fuckers
they've been
keep
run through the
still
ringer.
lining up. They still keep lining up to join the army. I'm like, what the fuck? Haven't you cunts learnt this from now? It's like the worst decision most men can make for themselves in their entire lives.
And what is it? Army, law enforcement, and then there's another profession or something that has like a disproportionately high amount of divorce.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's the benefits, and also the government will work with the woman to destroy. Just like here's the thing. So that happens even in the civilian arena, and with the military, the government joins their side with I don't know, like what's that? I'm trying to think of a word that, but I can't think of words right now. So basically, they assist in fucking you over just the same way that society assists women in fucking you over. But
And
since they're the
Congress.
government, they've got a lot more resources on their side to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, they
Big
got. I
government.
mean, they got no problem putting a gun in your hand, sending you overseas to shoot people you never met or don't know. So I mean, why in the fuck would they care if they throw you the rest of the way in that meat grinder over a woman? I mean,
Well, because it's for
Look,
their,
they
men,
already
it's,
don't
men,
care.
it's for their benefit. Because that
but
way
that's the
they get
problem.
you to
It's
stay
not,
in.
men have got to look at this at the situation when they sign up to the army. Fucking full stop.
Oh yeah.
What are you trading? What are you going to lose, and what are you going to gain? Is a pension that's going to help you down the track worth everything it's going to put you through in your personal life, psychologically, in any romantic relationships? Like, is money really worth this much to men? That's what I have to ask.
Some of it is because it's a means to getting an end of women to some of them. I mean, and that's the thing. Like when you're in the army and shit, you got 3 hots and a cot. You're taken care of, free health care, this and that. You know, so you may
But
not
you can
have
do
as much
lots-
money
you can
in
do
your
all this
pocket to.
yourself.
Well, this is what I'm saying is that when they start going through divorces and shit, they just keep redoing their shit and everything, and signing it for another couple of years because they know if they go into the civilian world, they got to get a real job. They're gonna have to. They got to pay for housing and food and everything out of their own pocket, and their child support and alimony. As long as they're in the army's going to provide them with a place to
You're also
sleep,
forgetting
and food, and all that shit. So
you're forgetting the other group too is the ones that they're getting close to getting out. They're getting close to doing their 20. The woman knows
oh yeah,
that, and so even like a lot of like they don't talk about this part. So even if you didn't get married and the chick just is on like she's just your baby mama, it's child support. She gets half your shit too, your retirement and all that stuff.
oh yeah.
So they basically they've pretty much locked. So what's going to happen is you're not going to get out. Like you see, like a different version of this is you see these older dudes who get these other type of jobs to supplement their income because their retirement's not enough, and then they
Yeah.
get divorced or something, and they got to go. Well, they're part of that the statistic we were just talking about. They just kill themselves. But other than that, they just have to go back to it. You don't get to just
So
leave.
it's just the pursuit. It's just the pursuit of desire that compels them to basically give up their freedom, their autonomy, and to put themselves in dangerous situations, and to know statistically that it doesn't benefit most men long term, whether it be romantically, psychologically. Like, I just don't get it, man. Why people? I understand what attracts them to that, but I don't understand why they're not looking at it and going, "Man, this hardly works out for anyone long term. Why the fuck am I doing this?"
Because if they don't get into relationships and they don't pander to women and the society at large and whatever, that they're afraid they won't be seen as a real boy.
Oh,
Okay,
so
fair enough.
yeah,
It's what do you call it? Where you come into your manhood. What do you call it? A
Coming of
rite,
age,
rite of passage.
a rite of passage. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That I can understand a little bit. Right. So it's a rite of passage. They've tried to find a rite of passage for themselves, and they believe this is an avenue to go down that is better than nothing. Okay, that I can buy.
Well,
That I
but
understand.
it's what they've told. They feel they were told to be, or feel like they're told to be. They've taken that shit too much to heart. That's the only way to self-actualization. That's the only way that I can, be a fully fledged human being and be accepted in the rest of society. It's the Pinocchio thing, I
But
gotta
they don't.
gotta become
Like,
a real
if you
boy.
do your homework, you know that everyone that comes back from service is looked at by the community, by the world, as somebody who's taken lives and is killed and is a killer, and
Oh,
they're ostracized and alienated and treated differently by society.
I wasn't. I wasn't speaking specifically of the military. I mean, meant more of the getting married and sacrificing yourself on the altar of societal.
I'm
Whatever,
talking
you
about
take
the army,
responsibility.
signing up to
The
work
army.
for the
Oh, no. I
government,
mean,
man.
well, there's a lot of reason. A lot of people. I mean, yeah, it could be a rite of passage thing in that too. Some of them still see the benefit. That possibly what the government can give them as far as GI Bill and different health care and shit after the fact. Some of them have this sense of, a lot of people that I knew of after 9/11 was, fuck this, I'm going in the army, I'm killing these motherfuckers, fuck this. I've knew quite a few people that were just like, yeah, fuck this. I want to
That's
defend my
the thing.
country.
about the same when you think about it. I'm just waiting for some guy to finally stand up and say, this is my pussy. There's many ones just like it, but
Like
this
it,
one is mine.
this
Without
is
it, I am nothing. Without me, it is everything.
And I don't mean to try to invalidate or to be disrespectful to anybody who makes any decisions in this world. At the end of the day, do what the fuck you like. But from my perspective, when I look at it as a man who, who knows that the best thing you can have in this life as a man is freedom, freedom to defend yourself, freedom of autonomy, freedom of choice, to put yourself in a situation where you throw all that away. And not only do you throw all that away, but statistically, you come out knowing your woman's left you, cheated on you, and fucking you're not going back into the house that you paid for and bought. With you never seeing your kids again. Society isn't going to trust you because they're worried you're going to have some kind of psychotic episode and kill them. Like, to me, I look at it and I think, fuck, and it's just such a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're actually that last statement. So ask yourself, what good deals are there for men?
Well, there aren't. I mean, not
Yeah.
really.
So after a while, it's just you're just going down the line. You're just going down the line.
Well, And
Fair
and
enough.
anymore, it's TFM has been talking about this quite a while too. It's they want men to have all the responsibility, but then none of the authority.
Yeah, and so again, it comes to that point where only now are you seeing that it's hitting that limit where guys are, and not a lot, but some are hitting to the point where they're like, well, fuck it, why am
There's
I
a
doing any
number.
of this?
Yeah. There's a good number. Maybe
Well,
not an overwhelming majority yet, but
no,
there's a good
it's not.
handful.
It's not enough pain yet, and believe me, it's
No,
gonna be.
yeah.
It's
I
about
know,
to turn up. It's about to turn up a lot. So,
yeah.
oh no, it's
Yeah.
gonna get bad. And my thing is, it was always gonna get bad. I mean, that's not a surprise. But once the pain turns up more, then yeah, you're gonna see it. And at this point, there's still that illusion. There's the illusion that I can be the mouse who saw the other mouse get killed by the trap, but since he went out and died, and now I know what not to do, I'm gonna make it through and get the cheese. There's a lot of that, and eventually,
But
that once that is destroyed, that's why I'm not a fan of like all this like weird hope and bullshit. Because what you're hoping for probably is not gonna happen. Because you're probably going off of bad information. And you're again,
yep.
instead of trying to go this same route or all those littered ass dead bodies are going, there's always a different way. It's just that you probably took it off the fucking table because you're not able to understand why that way would be beneficial. It's like a lot of guys, they uphold this standard of success that everyone else does too. So you can only have this cookie cutter version of success to live a good life. But that makes no goddamn sense. Cause one, you're not like everybody else. You don't share the same values. You didn't have the same experiences. You don't have the same preferences and everything.
Hmm.
So but we're at the point where if you notice, conformity is turned up pretty fucking loud. They've got the stereos going. And even like even some quality earplugs don't seem to be doing that well because your ears are fucking bleeding. And a lot of this shit, like everybody keeps acting like it's gonna come to a head and people are gonna wake up and do this shit. I'm like, that's not what's gonna happen. I don't think that has ever been the case of what's gonna happen. Like you look around now, what's going on is people are normalizing the pain.
Yeah.
Like this is normal. That's just how it is. It's just what you got to do. It's just what you got to do. And a lot of times I reframe, like again, I refrain myself from talking a lot because I know eventually it's just gonna come out that I'm just gonna say, hey, honestly, that's not always what the fuck you got to do. Because I'm getting to a point where I'm like, hey, I'm not cool with any of this shit. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act on my high horse like I don't like again right now I don't hear any gunshots. Nobody's trying to kill me. It's pretty peaceful. I get left alone. But as I keep seeing more and more of what's gearing and coming, and especially the social aspect, there's so many fucking weak people who are emboldened and act so fucking virtuous. But yet they don't even understand any of the shit they're spouting or trying to enforce. And as far as they're concerned, they've got this moral justification on their fucking side. And that's all that matters. But the moment that they reach some consequence, because again, I don't know if they know this, but what you're doing is you're saying, do what we're saying, or we're going to kill or crush you, or imprison, or take your freedom away. Now, what happens when you meet someone who doesn't like that is they're going to meet you with force. And at that point, there might be some who realize that there was no good or evil. This was only about surviving. That's what it always was ever about. That it doesn't matter if
What's the
you
only thing
moral
they got
justify or
left?
not.
It's the only thing they got left at that point is to meet you with force and violence because they know they can't talk to you.
Here's my point.
And reason with you.
So anyone who has a brain should know that was always on the table from the beginning. That's what they're leading with. It doesn't matter how you say it nicely.
Yeah.
It's still leading with, do this or we're going to fuck you up.
It's so funny that even people that have no fucking power keep trying to. You have weak people and cry bullies trying to assert power, and then when you actually flex back on them, they can't handle it. He didn't do the thing that I wanted him to do. Well, no,
because their power is supposed to come from their conformity and showing loyalty to the group. And you're supposed to respect that. You're not playing by the rules.
To be fair, they're technically not even playing by the rules because they walk in with this weird sense of entitlement. Like they can't tell you, they rank pull. They really can't tell you what they do in most case scenarios. I mean, they have this ever revolving, shifting thing. It's like someone personating.
It's always
like that.
It's always what suits the situation at this moment. I've seen people flip flop on a dime on the same shit. Take one stance if it benefited them. Take the opposite stance when it benefited them.
Of course.
Oh yeah, they refer to that as like the cafeteriaism, like cafeteria Catholic or a cafeteria fucking such and such, where you just pick and choose what suits you and what's convenient.
We call that kind of the Chinese menu. A little from callroom A, a little from callroom B. You know, not actually the full menu. Yeah.
Yep. No, I understand I'm just saying. I understand what you're saying. Continue. I'm listening. I'm actively listening. I just feel like I've asked a question that nobody can answer, to be honest. But yeah, go on. I don't think it can be answered, man. I really don't, because I don't know. Like, just tying back to where all this originally all came from, me saying I don't understand why people even bother signing up to go into the army or to join any sort of government fucking force like that. No matter what the perk is, I still think it's a deal with the devil, and I think at the end of the day, you do a deal with the devil, you're always going to get shafted.
Oh, you don't win. There's no winning. There's no winning at all. So,
like a Linkin Park song.
People, like I said, people just have their specific. I mean, it all goes back to what they feel is going to benefit them in that moment. If they're like, hey, you know, I'm talking to this one guy right now. He wants to go into the army and shit because he feels it's going to be an easier path to get him a college education.
What the fuck?
He wants to go into. He wants to go into like, kind of like what you're doing with computer security and different shit like that. You know.
I didn't go to college. I just studied on my own and got some certs, and then did a lot of hands-on shit at my own crib and stuff like that.
That's what I tried to tell him. You don't need all that anymore. Oh, but the army will pay for all this, and they'll do all that. And they'll do all this.
I really hope he doesn't do that. That's not going to work out.
Between the internet and libraries,
I told him it wasn't. I told him it wasn't a good idea.
Like honestly,
but see,
oh, go ahead.
I told him, I said, honestly, I just don't. I think there's other ways of going about doing it. But he's like really just dead set because, I can be a government contractor and I can get all the, this and that. And I'm like, well, you do understand too that like the tech sector is taking a shit here lately. I mean, nobody really cares too much about the whole tech thing. Oh, but I mean, cybersecurity and like really where it counts. And I'm like,
no.
I mean, I said you'd be better off. You'd be better off learning a trade, man. I mean, for what it's worth.
Yeah, if he could, don't go to the fucking military thinking all that shit's gonna, because all that shit he's thinking is completely wrong. Those are all misconceptions. 2,
he's got his dad pushing him too. I didn't mention.
Oh, he's probably gonna do it then. So there's no point in wasting words at this point.
I think his dad's a cop or an ex-cop. So
also, if he's actually But again, I can't project on people. So if you're actually looking for skills and knowledge and to gain all this stuff, the government is not going to give you that. Not the ones you're looking for. That's not where you get them.
they'll teach you just enough to be a puppet for their means, and
Yeah, you're just
that's
gonna
about
do,
it.
and you're mainly gonna do manual labor. So I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. Also, if you wanted to, if you really cared about cybersecurity, which I don't think that's true, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. So if he did like want to learn a lot of technology and different stuff like that, if you go the electrical path, you can still learn automation with like PLCs and stuff like that,
Oh
and
yeah,
you'll learn some tech and some network and stuff. And the electrical part too is really cool because you'll learn all this different shit, and there's a lot more application and different job diversity you could have
oh
when
yeah.
you spend time learning that shit. So if anybody really gave a fuck about him, they tell him like, hey, instead, here's a trade school. Does he work?
Well, he's still in his senior year of high school. He's trying to figure
Oh
out
shit! So if he's still in
where he
senior
wants. He's still
one,
he's trying to figure out where he wants to go yet. He's saying he's
He
advanced
has
enough where he
heaps of
wants to try to
time,
get
man.
out a half a year early, but
This is
the only
some
way he's
no
really going
no
to do
no
that
no
is
no
for the
no.
fucking the military. And
This is one of the mistakes a lot of young people fall into. Is they feel it's a race and you have to do like now. I've got to work it out, and then what happens is that they get depression and anxiety when they don't find that answer because you've still got plenty of time to work it out, and most people won't work it out fucking very young because the world's very complex.
yep.
So he's got plenty of time, man. And yeah, you're right. A trade is probably not a bad path to go down. It's not going to be the best, but it's definitely not going to be the worst. It's a
Well,
what's not
good
going to be
point
the
to
most
make.
no,
glamorous.
But you
let
got to understand the biggest problem with trades, though, is that if it's anything like trades in Australia, there's a lot of nepotism and gatekeeping, and you'll find that there's
I
a lot
mean,
of people lined up to get these trades, these apprenticeships and shit like this, and fucking
well, I mean, I guess depending on where you are, but
I just wanted to point out.
the
So
thing is,
especially with
I don't see a lot of I don't see a lot of people lining up for a lot of shit over
well,
here.
that's what I'm
I
trying
mean,
to. That's what I'm
we
trying
get
to
a lot
point.
of limp-wristed, doe-eyed, fucking
All right. So
goofballs.
I'm trying to point out. So the reason why a lot of younger people, especially, aren't going to go to trades is one, they're misinformed. They're told the money is in tech. Two, it's a status thing. They want to get
Yes,
vagina, and there's no status in trades because there's no college. The status is also in college.
depending on where you live in a lower income country like Australia, in lower income or perhaps more remote areas like where I am, it's a little bit of the opposite, man. They actually have far more weight here in Australia than they do in America. That's something I have to point out. So when we come
yeah,
from different points of view or different opinions at some point, you'll understand it's a different socio-economical fucking environment in Australia. A lot of similarities, like 99%, but this is one of those 1% circumstances where it's the opposite here, for the most part. But
yeah.
go on. Sorry, man, didn't mean to
Hmm?
derail you.
Oh no,
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 that was a good
that's
point.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
Well, yeah, that's so for a lot
But
of young dudes. If you're wondering why it seems like they're because one, they're being directed towards those paths of college degrees and tech sector shit and cybersecurity. They're told that that's where the money is and that's where the bitches are. And then also it's basically a status thing. So they
mhm.
believe that if you don't go to college, you're not going to be successful. But if they, again, you can't. A lot of things. I don't know. If they had people in their lives who actually gave a fuck about them and could point them in the direction and give them proper information, then
Yes.
they'd have a chance. But you can't do that.
That is the best
Mhm.
point you could probably ever make about giving somebody fucking what's going to give them the best advantage in life is that somebody who actually actively gives a fuck about you and your future. That
Yeah.
makes a huge difference, man.
That's why it's kind of disappointing. Where you go, I have a dad, and I'm like, I guarantee your dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he
And
was
Well,
there, but he wasn't
well, even
available to you.
even
yeah,
this dude that I was talking about, his mom and dad's been split for a while. I mean, he still sees him, but he don't live in the same household. But the dad is, like I said, a cop or an ex-cop or some shit too. So there's a lot of that. But yeah, his dad doesn't live with him full time anymore. That's been the thing, for quite a while now.
so also, I want a lot of dudes to understand something. So, one, don't beat yourself up with an empathy bat or whatever the fuck it's called over not being able to help the young dudes and all this shit like that. Because one thing you do have to remember is that people, they're not going to view you as some type of, I don't know, savior or assistant or helper or guider or mentor. They're going to view you as attacking their identity, their life, and their culture and their
Yeah.
community. So cut it out. Also, as far as it goes, if there are people you can help, remember, try to understand their point of view. Try to understand that if it's like some like 19-year-old kid who's horny as all hell and he's going off of a lot of the social norms and shit like that and social etiquette, all that bullshit that you used to know that you probably don't know anymore because you've been watching too much shit on YouTube, that you can't just approach them with all this fact, knowledge, and evidence like they give a shit. Because that's not how they're perceiving anything. That's not what they're going off of. Because it wasn't facts, knowledge, and evidence that got them to where they are now.
That is
So
true.
it's just one of those things where you'd have to take a different stance on how you approach things. And also, it's not going to be this weird thing like like in a test you have like a set methodology for certain situations and circumstances. It's not that. Life is never that. It's always different. It's always some dynamic shit, and you just got to adjust and stay on your toes. One of the best exercises you can ever help somebody with is on utilizing your mind, your thinking skills, just developing different ways to solve problems, starting with little problems and building up so you can analyze it piece by piece to solve a complex problem. And then also, again, help about with little shit. Like, so many young dudes I've talked to, right? And the fact that I speak to them not like they're beneath me, not like they're my fucking kid or some shit like that, but I speak to them like another human. And then instead of
Got to
just
be
trying to,
careful, bro. You got to be careful doing that because the problem is because that's probably might be the first time in their life they actually experience that, bro. And you may get some poor motherfucker that clings and latches onto you, and you can't get them to let go because they've just got a taste of like heroin because they've never had someone actively. I've had it happen, man. I've had it happen. I'm the same. I try to actively engage people, but I've had people that it's such a weird thing to them, and there's other people actually believe that therefore is some kind of empathy that can be manipulated as well, and then plenty of people like to think that there's a room for manipulation and deceit in there, and
yep.
so it's a very complex on you, like you say, you got to think on your toes. It's a very complex place to be, man. But I think that is a very heavy burden to carry at the same time, man.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things where you can. So that's why there's some things that don't need to be batted down when people try to bring them up as points. They're like, women are the most empathetic and women care the most. And one, you can clearly see
No.
that that's not fucking true, and you yourself can know that there's a reason why a lot of men try to put on that stoic demeanor and all that shit. What you're trying to do is you're trying to repress and shut down what you're feeling. You don't want that shit being expressed, and you damn sure don't want it. You don't want to feel it. The problem, what you need to understand, is you can't. That's not how emotions work. They don't just, even if you're numb to it. Like had to
Nah, it
find this
takes
out with
time.
stress.
All emotions take time. You have to give things years before they're fucking really sort of processed and dealt with
Yep.
if there are strong emotional issues. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you've just got to be consciously aware of that. It's just something that literal time does heal all wounds, man. It's a true thing. It's just enough time.
Well, yeah, and so basically the point was something about processing emotions, understanding repressing doesn't help. In fact, it makes things worse down the line. Finding healthy ways, like I didn't used to understand what Messenger and Spetnaz were really talking about, but what they were saying is that the way to healing, the way to really finding yourself, the way to self mastery, the way to you know getting your meaning and purpose, to living a fulfilling life, isn't to shut yourself down. It's not to shut yourself in. And saying it that way is a little too simplistic. I think that's really where I was getting irritated at because it's very simplistic. It's actually a lot more complex than that. There's a lot more to it, to the process of where you're able to, again, like he was just said, process a lot of that pain, emotions, a lot of those, a lot of that shit. You're able to process that, maybe express it in a healthy way, find different things. But that shit, it does take time. Like when you're young, there's the amount of maturity, the lot of understanding and experience that it would take for you to really be able to get yourself to respond in such a way like that to that type of input. Like there's times where I've had different emotions and different things come up, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? I thought that was gone. And it's where you understand that it doesn't go away like that. It's still there. But how you react to things is always going to be the most important part of your life.
Yeah, and that can be the hardest thing too. It's one thing to process it, understand it, or to be aware of it, but how to react and what to do next is one of the things that is the most complex fucking part of it all.
Yeah. So, all right, it's about time to wrap it up because pretty soon I got to get to fucking bed.
Go to bed.
Right. So, I'm just gonna keep doing these every once in a while until they shut this channel down. It probably won't be that long, honestly. Nobody knows it's there, so it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to just go, and it's good to talk about a
Yeah.
lot of this shit. For a lot of dudes, I do one, don't dox yourself. Two, finding ways to practice your articulation, to go ahead and speak, to let out a lot of your thoughts, you know what I mean? And trying to find a healthy manner of doing so is a good practice. It is really good for your mind. Your mind's a muscle, remember that. So use that shit. Also,
Yeah.
there's if you can have a social life, try to have one, but remember that manipulation just means that somebody doesn't have anything to offer you, but they want something from you. So always remember that normally when someone's offering you something, they know they're going to walk away a lot more benefit with a lot more benefit from that transaction than you will. So just be wary. Stay frosty. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of that. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this
It's
shit.
fucking big deal.
And remember,
Bro.
kids, only you